On the news tonight, federal government reaffirms commitment to strengthening national security. Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development requests reassignment of three-letter code to Osubi Airport. Inflation rate falls to 15.43% in July 2026 from 15.91% in June. Abroad, Iran shifts its military policy from defensive to fully offensive amid deadlock in effort to negotiate permanent end to war with US. Hello, good evening. Thank you for joining us on Delta Television News tonight. My name is Onome Iyaroe. You can also follow our news online on Facebook and YouTube at Delta Broadcasting Service Asaba, or visit our website at www.dbsasaba.com. Now, the news in full. The federal government has reaffirmed its commitment to strengthening national security, engaging Nigerians in the diaspora, and deepening strategic partnerships with international partners. Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Shola Enikunlaye, stated this at the Nigerian Diaspora Economic Conference in Toronto, Canada. Ambassador Enikunlaye said security remained a major challenge, noting that the administration was working to address the issue through multifaceted measures and strategic cooperation with international partners. He said the engagements were aimed at achieving concrete results in security, prosperity, defense, and the welfare of Nigerians. The minister described Nigerians in the diaspora as vital assets to national development, urging them to work with citizens at home to promote unity, production, and economic growth. He called for the removal of ethnic, religious, and tribal barriers and stronger cooperation among Nigerians and international partners. Plans are on the way by the federal government to connect riverine communities across the country to telecommunication services by mid-2027. The Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani, disclosed this at Obigoro in Warri North local government area at an event held as part of activities marking the 5th coronation anniversary of the Olu of Warri, Atuwashe III. Dr. Tijani said the government was installing 3,700 telecommunications facilities in rural communities nationwide, with Obigoro Ogoye among the beneficiaries, adding that the installation of telecommunications infrastructure in Obigoro Ogoye would be formally flagged off in October. Earlier, the national leader of Obigoro community, Dr. Godwin Ebosa, commended the government for its interest in the development of riverine communities and pledged resident support for government programs. The state deputy governor, Samonde Onyeme, has called on Nigerians to support President Bola Tinubu's economic reforms, saying they are aimed at transforming the economy and improving the lives of citizens. Sir Onyeme made the call at a medical outreach organized by the Special Assistant to the Governor on Non-Indigens, Sir Tony Chukwu, for residents of Ward 10, Oshimili South local government area to mark his birthday. Perebotu completes the report.
The deputy governor, who congratulated Sir Tony Chukwu on the celebration of his birthday, commended him for organizing the medical outreach to cater for the health needs of the people. He noted that the medical outreach, which included the distribution of 250 pairs of eyeglasses, was impressive, describing it as a worthy way of touching lives positively. Sir Oyeme commended Sir Tony Chukwu for his philanthropy within the limits of his resources, adding that there was no better way of giving back to the society than by positively impacting the lives of the people.
I do know that if you have more, you will even do far more than this. But to God be the glory that within the lean resources that you have, you always remember your people. What a great way to serve God. What a great way to serve God. I will say keep it up, and God will continue to bless you.
The deputy governor lauded the people of Ward 10 for their support for the All Progressives Congress APC, urging them not to waver in their commitment as the economic reforms of President Bola Tinubu were yielding results, citing the availability of petroleum products and disappearance of long queues at filling stations as evidence. He added that the move by the president to establish state police would help strengthen the fight against insecurity in the country, stressing that President Tinubu had demonstrated a strong commitment to implementing far-reaching reforms. Sir Oyeme said Nigerians did not have a better presidential option than President Bola Tinubu, urging them not to truncate the existing federal zoning formula between the north and the south.
This is why all of us must put hands together to support our president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Because if we support him, it will be good for all of us. It will trickle down to the states. It will trickle down to the local government. One day it will trickle down to even to world level. I did not so.
In his remarks, Sir Tony Chukwu said the medical outreach was organized to celebrate his birthday, adding that he preferred to mark the occasion by giving back to the people rather than hosting a lavish birthday party. Sir Chukwu noted that during previous birthday celebrations, he had built and commissioned borehole facilities, embarked on empowerment programs, and distributed rice and other items to make life better for the people, stressing that the people remained committed to the APC.
The cardinal point of His Excellency, Governor Sheriff Oborevwori, the Governor of Delta State, the more agenda is what we are putting into practice today. The government will not be everywhere. We, the appointees, are to represent the government anywhere we are.
The leader of the medical team and permanent secretary, Ministry of Technical Education, Dr. Anthony Okoze, said tests and drugs were being administered for malaria, hypertension, and blood sugar levels, as well as general medical consultations and treatment, in addition to the distribution of 250 pairs of eyeglasses. He said the medical outreach had enabled some residents to access free medical treatment and medications, thereby providing much-needed relief to beneficiaries. In separate goodwill messages, the people described Sir Tony Chukwu as a grassroots politician who was always in touch with the people of Ward 10 Oshimili South local government area. In an interview, some beneficiaries commended Sir Tony Chukwu for his consistent efforts to reach out to the people and promised to work for the success of the APC at all levels. I am Pere Botu reporting.
Governor Sheriff Oborevwori will tomorrow declare open the 7th edition of the Delta State Strategic Communication Workshop, DELCOM 2026 in Asaba, with the theme Digital Communication and Crisis Management, Building Trust and Credibility for Democratic Governance. A statement by the Director General of the State Bureau for Orientation and Communications and State Coordinator of DELCOM, Dr. Fred Ogenesiwe, says participants will be exposed to digital communication, strategic media relations, reputation and crisis management, peace journalism, and effective message development, with Professor Presley Obukadeta, Professor Joyce Ogwezi, and Dr. Rita Abamba among the trainers. The State Commissioner for Works, Rural Roads and Public Information, Mr. Charles Anyago, is the chief host at the event, which is expected to strengthen the state's communication architecture, enhance public trust and accountability, and promote effective citizen engagement. The 3-day workshop will hold at the Hotel Benizia, Asaba, from 10 a.m. Following the just concluded Osun State governorship election, citizens have been assessing the performance of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, while expressing their expectations ahead of the 2027 general elections. Our reporter, Henry Usiayo, sampled the views of some residents on the conduct of the election, their confidence in INEC, and the lessons they believe voters should take from the exercise.
With the Osun governorship election concluded, attention has shifted to the conduct of the poll and what can be improved ahead of the 2027 general elections. Some residents of the state assessed INEC's performance, while others highlighted areas they believe require further improvement.
More especially the youth to come out in mass in terms of voting and also following up the due process in terms of electing our new leaders. And then for INEC, I sincerely urge them as well to do the needful, just like they did in Osun State's gubernatorial election. I believe they can equally achieve the same thing by giving us our choice when it comes to 2027.
INEC really tried their best this period because it's what we expected from INEC. They really did well. They really did well for that Osun election. They tried.
Okay, so you have confidence in INEC?
Yeah. With this one, I have confidence with them. My advice to INEC is let them do it as they did the Osun election, so that all the people will have confidence in them.
Beyond the performance of the electoral umpire, the residents also stressed the need for voters to take greater responsibility by participating peacefully, verifying information before sharing it, and protecting their votes through lawful means. They said the Osun State experience is a reminder that credible elections require not only an independent and efficient electoral commission, but also responsible political parties, candidates, and an informed electorate.
I must recommend them for what they did. The election is very, very okay. So we thank them so much for being transparent. Yeah, and we believe that come 2027 that they will do the same. So we are encouraging the voters, the electorate, let everybody come out 2027 and vote to their preferable candidates. Yeah, with what INEC did in Osun State, we have hope that Nigeria will be fine again.
I'll say yes, INEC play a fair game, even when the upper hand try to manipulate the election, but the voters turnout in the election is so magnificent. So what I have to say is that the INEC, they play a free and fair game in the just concluded Osun State election.
I sincerely urge every youth, more especially the youth, to come out in mass in terms of voting and also following up the due process in terms of electing our new leaders. And then for INEC, I sincerely urge them as well to do the needful, just like they did in Osun State's gubernatorial election.
As Nigeria prepares for another general election in 2027, expectations remain high for an electoral process that is credible, transparent, and acceptable to all stakeholders. For the electorate, the message from Osun State's experience is clear: participate actively, remain peaceful, and make informed choices at the polls. Henry Usiayo reporting.
As schools remain on summer break, parents and guardians have been urged to ensure that children and wards use the long holiday productively by engaging in meaningful and educational activities. Some stakeholders made a call while speaking with our reporter Gift Unosha on engaging children during the holidays. Her report.
The summer holiday offers students an opportunity to rest after months of academic activities, spend quality time with their families, and engage in recreational activities. The period could also be used for skill acquisition, including computer training, sports, catering, art, and other vocational programs to help children develop practical skills and discover their talents. Some citizens speaking on the issue noted that long holidays could have some disadvantages, particularly when children were left without adequate supervision. They said excessive use of social media, television, and video games could affect children's academic concentration and expose them to inappropriate contents.
My advice to parents, let them bring out their children to go and learn work instead of being in the house.
Most of the schools these days equally has this way of engaging the children who comes for summer lesson in skill acquisition too, and I think parents bringing out their children or pushing their children to enroll into all these summer lessons will definitely help in.
Citizens also warned that prolonged period without structured activities could expose children to negative peer influence and other undesirable behaviors. They therefore encouraged parents and guardians to provide adequate supervision and keep the children meaningfully engaged throughout the break.
Parents are supposed to hold their children. You know, when they are in school, they are not with you, but now that they are with you, make sure that you know where they go, what they do every day.
Program so that they will be learning instead of being at home, because when they're at home, they will not do the needful. Maybe you will not be, even if you are around, they will be playing, doing all sorts of nonsense that will not help them.
The people stress that a well-planned summer holiday should combine relaxation, family bonding, learning and skill development to ensure that children return to school refreshed, disciplined, and better prepared for the new academic session. Gift Unosha report.
As part of preparations for the forthcoming general elections, the state chapter of the Obi Kwankwaso OK movement of Nigeria Democratic Congress (NDC) has held a town hall meeting to mobilize members and strengthen the party, bringing together party leaders, candidates, supporters, and stakeholders. Perebotu completes the report.
Addressing the gathering in Asaba, the state coordinator of the OK movement, Honorable Favor Emerure, stressed the need for unity and urged members to shun acts capable of causing division.
We want to support the party mandate. There is no way we can be supporting Peter Obi NDC and we are posting ADC. Invariably, they are supporting Atiku. So please, there is no way we can be voting NDC Peter Obi and you are posting Labour Party.
Also speaking, former Deputy Senate President and the NDC Senatorial candidate for Delta Central, Senator Ovie Omoagege, called on members to prioritize internal unity and promote harmony, describing the meeting as an opportunity to strengthen the party structure. The Delta North Senatorial candidate, the Right Honorable Victor Oche, in his remarks urged members to put aside personal interests and work together for the party's success.
No matter how much we do the movement, that movement will go nowhere if we do not have a political party to run for the elections they aspire for. So also down the line. Therefore, it becomes imperative and incumbent upon each and every member of the OK movement that we must belong to a political party. And in that political party, that will bear the expressions of our innermost expressions will be made manifest by that political party. And today, I'm glad we have subscribed to the NDC.
The NDC governorship candidate, Dikin Chris Iyowawe, underscored the need for unity, peace, and hope in the state and solicited the people's support, while the state publicity secretary of the movement, Mr. Priye Peremene, commended members for their support, urging them to remain united and hopeful.
It's an internal democracy. Consequently, we have had to put this town hall meeting so that we can speak to ourselves, so that we can talk to ourselves to see how all segments, whether support group, whether pressure group, we all want to align and become one body, so that the NDC can truly become that party that it is.
The meeting ended with members reaffirming their commitment to building a stronger political movement and advancing the development of Delta State. I am Perebotu reporting.
Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, has formally asked the International Air Transport Association, IATA, to review the three-letter code QRW assigned to Osubi Airport in Delta State to adopt a code that better reflects the airport's official name and geographical location. The request is contained in a letter to IATA Area Manager for West and Central Africa, Dr. Samuel Fatokun. According to the Minister's Special Advisor on Media and Communications, Tunde Moshood, Osubi Airport, with the ICAO designation DNSU, is located in Osubi, near Warri, although it is sometimes referred to as Warri Airport because it serves the Warri metropolitan area. Mr. Keyamo said the continued use of QRW does not accurately reflect the airport's actual name and location, and suggested OSU, OSB, SUB, and QSB for consideration, subject to IATA's coding procedures and availability. The minister said aligning the IATA code with Osubi's official name and location will strengthen the airport's identity, reduce passenger confusion, and promote consistency in aviation, travel, ticketing, baggage, and related information system. He also directed airlines operating to and from the airport to ensure tickets, luggage tags, boarding passes, and other passenger documents reflect Osubi, Delta State. Mr. Keyamo further directed the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority, Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, Nigerian Airspace Management Agency, and other relevant agencies to consistently use and enforce the proper designation in their systems and records. He stressed that the clarification was aimed at geographical and operational accuracy rather than denying the airport service to the wider Warri metropolitan area, declaring Osubi is not Warri and Warri is not Osubi. The Edo State House of Assembly has elected Yekini Idiaye, representing Akoko Edo Constituency 1, as its new speaker, following the resignation of former Speaker Blessing Agbebaku, which was formally acknowledged during today's plenary. The sitting was presided over by the Deputy Speaker, Osamoye Atu. Following the announcement of Agbebaku's resignation, Sunday Ojezele, representing Esa South East constituency, nominated Idiaye for Speaker, while Eric Okaka, representing Owa East constituency, seconded the nomination. The clerk of the House subsequently administered the oath of office on Idiaye, who assumed leadership of the Assembly. The House also considered a letter from the Edo State chapter of the All Progressives Congress seeking changes in the leadership of the majority caucus. Ojezele was nominated as majority leader, while Oje Inebebo, representing Igweben constituency, was nominated as deputy majority leader. The lawmakers further approved a letter from the National Democratic Congress nominating Natasha Osawaru as minority leader. The development has ushered in a new legislative structure in the Edo State House of Assembly, with Idiaye now presiding over the 8th Assembly. The Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, NARD, has announced new commencement or recommended work hour guidelines aimed at reducing excessive workloads, burnout, and fatigue among healthcare personnel. In a statement, NARD said the recommendations followed deliberations by the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare's Ministerial Committee on Work Hour Regulation and Casualization of Doctors. The committee conducted a nationwide assessment involving 6,350 healthcare personnel across the 6 geopolitical zones, which, according to NARD, highlighted the urgent need to address excessive work hours, inadequate rest, and risk to healthcare workers and patient safety. Under the proposed framework, healthcare personnel would work a maximum of 48 hours per week, including weekends, with authorized excess hours appropriately compensated. The guidelines recommend a maximum of 8 hours for day shifts and 6 hours for afternoon shifts, while shifts exceeding 12 hours will be limited to emergency situations. On-call duties will be restricted to 2 hours per week, including weekends, with equitable distribution among eligible personnel and a maximum of 1 weekend call per month. NAD also proposed an absolute maximum of 24 continuous hours of duty, a maximum of 12 hours between regular shifts, and mandatory 24-hour post-call rest after weekday, Saturday, Sunday, and public holiday calls. The framework further provides for at least 1 hour break after 6 hours of continuous work, with breaks staggered to ensure uninterrupted patient care. You're watching the Delta Television Main News. Up ahead, Iran shifts its military policy from defensive to fully offensive amid deadlock in effort to negotiate permanent end to war with US. Details in a moment. Stay tuned.
We can't even go out because of
Children, come back! Stay away from the flood.
But mommy, it's only water.
No, my son. Flood water is dangerous. It can sweep people away, hide open gutters, and spread deadly diseases.
Last year, my family lost our home, our furniture, food, and important documents were washed away. We don't want that to happen again.
Flood can destroy homes, schools, offices, roads, bridges, and farmland. They can disrupt businesses, contaminate drinking water, spread diseases like cholera and typhoid, displace families, and even claim lives.
Many floods become worse because people dump refuse into drains and block waterways.
We all have a role to play in preventing floods. Never dump refuse into drainage channels. Keep gutters and waterways clean. Plant trees where possible. Listen to weather updates and emergency advisories on Delta Broadcasting Service News. If advised to evacuate, move immediately to higher ground. Never walk, swim, or drive through flood waters.
Protect lives, protect properties, protect the environment. Flood prevention starts with me. Flood prevention starts with you.
This flood disaster risk reduction message is brought to you by the Public Service Unit, Office of the General Manager, Delta Broadcasting Service, Asaba. Together, let's prevent floods and build a safer, cleaner, and more resilient Delta State.
Glad to have you back to the Delta Television Main News. And now from the foreign scene, Iran says it has shifted its military policy from defensive to fully offensive amid a deadlock in efforts to negotiate a permanent end to its war with the United States. A senior Iranian official told Reuters on Monday that progress towards peace talks and the resumption of oil tanker traffic through the strategic Strait of Hormuz has stalled. The conflict, which began with US and Israeli military action in February 28, has continued despite repeated indications from US President Donald Trump that a peace agreement could be closed. Today marked the deadline under a memorandum of understanding signed by Iran and the United States on June 17, which gave both sides 60 days with the possibility of an extension to reach a broader agreement. The proposed deal was to cover issues including restrictions on Iran's nuclear program and the lifting of US sanctions. but the interim agreement broke down over disagreements concerning control of the Strait of Hormuz, a vital shipping route through which about 1/5 of global oil and liquefied natural gas passed before the conflict. Iran says it has the right to manage the waterway, which it shares with Oman, while Washington rejects that position. Hostilities later resumed, with Tehran firing on vessels it accused of using an unauthorized route through the strait. Trump declared the agreement over on July 7, while Tehran has accused Washington of violating its commitments. With diplomatic efforts stalled and Iran adopting a more offensive military posture, concerns are growing that the conflict could escalate further. Security forces in Zambia have seized weapons and arrested 11 people, including senior opposition figures, over an alleged plot to overthrow the government. The country's top civil servant, Mr. Patrick Kangwa, said the leading opposition presidential candidate, Mr. Brian Mundubile, was also found at the scene of the raid in Lusaka. Mr. Mundubile described Friday night's raid as an attempt on his life, claiming that colleagues were shot in his presence. He had not provided detailed evidence to support the claim or identified those allegedly shot during the operation. The development comes as a result for more than half of Zambia's constituencies show incumbent President Hakainde Hichilema leading Mr. Mundubile. Mr. Mundubile had earlier claimed victory and alleged irregularities in the presidential election, but tangible evidence to support the opposition's allegations, as well as claims by the government and the Electoral Commission, had so far been lacking. The United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC, has linked illegal mining in Nigeria to organized crime, terrorism, and insecurity across West Africa. Chief of Africa Section of the Terrorism Prevention Branch at UNODC, Mr. Tuleo Santini, stated this after leading a delegation to meet with the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC mining marshals. He said the Mining Marshals Enforcement Unit is critical to combating illegal mining, while discussions focused on strengthening cooperation to dismantle financial and operational links between criminal networks and terrorist groups. Speaking on behalf of the NSCDC Commandant General Ahmed Abubakar Audi, Commander John Atta said UNODC had been critical to the fight against illegal mining. He added that previous UNODC-supported training programs had improved collaboration between the mining marshals and the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit. Inflation rate fell to 15.43% in July 2026 from 15.91% in June, according to the latest Consumer Price Index report by the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS. The Bureau said this represents a 0.48% point decline in year-on-year inflation, while month-on-month inflation also dropped to 1.5% from 1.66% in June. Despite the decline in headline inflation, food inflation rose to 20.31% year-on-year in July, although lower than the 26.20% recorded in July 2025. NBS attributed the increase mainly to higher prices of rice, water yam, and plantain, while month-on-month food inflation climbed sharply to 5.5% from 3.7% in June. The rise in monthly food inflation was driven by higher prices of crayfish, fresh pepper, onions, carrots, rice, water yam, tomatoes, garri, plantain, beef, eggs, guinea corn, ginger, and plantain flour. Adamawa recorded the highest month-on-month flood of food inflation at 17.02%, followed by Lagos at 13.48% and Borno at 13.26%, while Jigawa, Kebbi, and Bauchi recorded declines. Bauchi recorded declines. On a year-on-year basis, Adamawa also recorded the highest food inflation of 51.36%. The World Bank has tied $200 million in performance-based financing. The World Bank has tied $200 million in performance-based financing to Nigeria's efforts to strengthen regulations governing mini-grids under its $750 million distributed access through renewable energy scale-up. The funding is aimed at creating a more predictable regulatory environment for developers of decentralized renewable energy. According to the World Bank's latest project paper, the $200 million represents the entire performance-based conditions allocation under DERS, with $150 million linked to an intermediate target and $50 million to a subsequent target. The financing is specifically tied to improvements in Nigeria's mini-grid regulatory framework. Under the condition, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, is required to revise its mini-grid regulations to allow batch processing of license and tariff applications and require distribution companies to give mini-grid operators 12 months notice before reaching a mini-grid site. The reforms will also clarify the rights and obligations of communities involved in urban mini-grid projects. The regulatory changes are considered critical to the success of DERS, which seeks to expand access to electricity through decentralized renewable energy. And now to sports. The Nigerian Sports Commission, NSC, has cancelled the Nigeria Football Federation, NFF, election congress earlier scheduled for September 27 in Lafia, Nasarawa State. The commission says the decision is to pave way for a thorough reorganization of the Football Federation. The cancellation has put the planned NFF leadership elections on hold and may lead to changes in the administration of Nigerian football. Reports indicate that the NSC might establish a temporary normalization structure to oversee the affairs of the federation during the reorganization. The development is expected to generate reactions from NFF stakeholders, including state football associations, clubs, and members of the NFF Congress. Further details on the proposed reorganization and a new timetable for the NFF elections are expected from the National Sports Commission. Adoji Ondoka has emerged winner of the professional section of the Honorable Daniel Mayuko Pro Birthday Golf Kitty held at the Bori Golf and Country Club, Asaba. Ondoka carded 3 over par to beat Abubakar Mustafa on countback, while Omenuko won the Senior Pro category and Winifred Amina claimed the Ladies Pro title, both with 4 over par. Jude Agbeyeke completes the report.
In the IGCC categories, Professor Robert Dode won the men's title with 75 net, while Prinye Uboya emerged winner of the women's category with 78 net, beating Igbo Ugbegu to second place, with John Okoje and Destiny Oko claiming the men's and women's best gross titles. Dr. Tosan Popo won the Super Veterans category with 78 net, while Sifo Uniti took the Veterans Prize with 76 net. Omosigo Obakbolo and Bilal Ibrahim emerged winners in the Guest Ladies and Guest Men categories. The captain of the club, Alex Joe, and the immediate past captain, Chief Patrick Uka, described Honorable Daniel Mayuku, a 4-time captain of the club, as an icon whose contributions to golf remained a reference point in the development of the sport in Nigeria.
He has contributed so much to the growth of the club. A 4-term captain of Iwobi Golf and Country Club. So he has given his best and is still much available around the golf community.
And I believe strongly that Dan is somebody who wants ITJC to grow from strength to strength. And there's no saying about this. Dan believes so much in the ladies section, and he helped them to grow.
Other speakers described Honorable Mayuku as an ardent golfer whose 6-year absence from the circuit created a gap, expressing optimism that his return would contribute to the development of golf in the country.
He's a different kind of person. I don't think God created another person like Mayuku in this whole world. Concerning this tournament, there's no year I don't celebrate birthday for Mayuku because he brought me to playing golf. He introduced me into this golf. He gave me all the support that I needed to play this golf.
For good socialization, and he has that charisma for everyone to socialize with him. So for me, he's a yes, 100% an excellent person.
Mayuku is a great golfer and a great philanthropist.
Done a lot to improve Ibori Golf Course. He's a committed golfer.
Honorable Mayuku, who recently marked his sister's birthday, thanked the Nigerian golf family, particularly members of the Ibori Golf and Country Club, for their support, while stressing the need for more Nigerian golfers to compete on the international circuit.
We are doing anything and we do not make one or two sacrifices because so to me, I don't look at it as legacy. I look at it as doing what is right at that particular time. And by the grace of God, I had the enabling power to do it. But I still pray that God will give me the opportunity to be able to do it again.
The event drew over 100 professional and amateur golfers from within and outside the state, with the highlights being the presentation of golf equipment to the Ibori Golf and Country Club by Honorable Mayuku, as well as prizes to the winners. Jude Agbayeke reporting.
That's our news. Next is the thoughts for the day. Being corrected does not mean you are unintelligent. It means you have something new to learn. To end Delta Television main news, here are the highlights. The federal government has reaffirmed its commitment to strengthening national security, engaging Nigerians in the diaspora, and deepening strategic partnerships with international partners. Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, has formally asked the International Air Transport Association, IATA, to review the 3-letter code QRW assigned to the Osubi Airport in Delta State to adopt a code that better reflects the airport's official name and geographical location. Inflation rate fell to 15.43% in July 2026 from 15.91% in June, according to the latest Consumer Price Index report by the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS. From the foreign scene, we reported that Iran says it has shifted its military policy from defensive to full offensive amid a deadlock in efforts to negotiate a permanent end to its war with United States. So much for Delta Television main news. On behalf of the news editor and the production team, Nome Iyaro here, thanking you for watching. Good night.